Here we go, Deirdre, you should hear me.
Deirdre, can you hear us?
Oh,
Hey, everyone, yes, I can. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Deirdre. All right, here we go. Good evening, everybody. My name is John Lorem, Chair of the Finance Committee here in Millis. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. It's pretty much 7 on the dot, but back there it says it's a little fast, so we'll see what we do. Let's see the 7 o'clock. So today is the 24th of September. Before we get going, I'd like to go around. Oh, first, I've got to do some housekeeping rules too. I'd like to go around, starting off on my left, if you could introduce yourself.
Brent Hausler. Pete Ruby.
Joyce Boyardi.
Michael Crum.
Jen Zaransky.
Eric Martinson.
Thank you. And we're missing Heidi Gilmore, who is on vacation, and she'll be joining us in a couple meetings out from now. Couple housekeeping rules before we get going. For the newer folks that are here, you gotta speak literally 4 inches from the mic. So if you can't hear yourself, you're not close enough to it. And also, I don't know if you guys have the guest Wi-Fi. If you need any of that stuff, it's here. This is a new sheet. So I'm just pointing it out to everybody. So this is our last traditional FinCom meeting was on July 9th. We did have a meeting on the 25th. That was a select board meeting, but we had a quorum. And then we had a tri-board meeting last week, which went great. But before we get going, I'd like to acknowledge Kathy McGinnis, who passed away on August 25th, as we all know. Just want to say a couple comments and recognize her and acknowledge her. She was a dedicated person to Millis. She was on a variety of boards and committees, planning board, select board, FinCom, maybe a few others. I'm not sure. But she was very adamant about some of the topics that she covered, specifically the enterprise funds. She had a true belief in that, as well as benefits, making sure that we're doing our best as a town to keep those benefits under control. So we're going to miss her. Just wanted to take a few minutes now to acknowledge that. And we are in the process of looking for a new FinCom member. That went out in the school newsletter, and we're going through that process right now. So if anyone else wants to make a comment, feel free, but you do not have to.
Well, a lot of us knew Kathy, in the business, I'll call it the municipal world. But in the private world, she made quilts, and she made quilts with women who provide them for charity. And she was very dedicated to that. Every Monday she went, and she retired maybe possibly 2 years now. And since then, she every Monday went to this guild and gave of her love. People didn't see that soft, gentle side. They saw the business side, but she really did a lot for kids in need, families in need. So that's something that, the softer side.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Joyce. Moving on to more of the traditional format here. So just to remind everybody that you can watch our FinCom meetings at home, either on Comcast Channel 6, Verizon 38. You can go to millismedia.org. You can live stream it on YouTube, as well as watch past FinCom meetings, just like select board and school committee. Anyone can attend our meetings in person as well. So all the material that we review during our meetings are available on the website. So if you are out there and have questions and want to look at some of the documentation, feel free and take a look at that online. With that said, why don't we jump into our agenda? I can go over here. It looks like we got Jim McKay coming up first. Back to back here on a few items.
And Jim,
Usually it lasts.
you've been
I know.
talking, you were talking about 109 for the last 3 years, and it got done. Thank you. Yes,
That's
it was,
right.
I know that was something that was bothering you for a while, trying to get the state to get
Last
that
time we
done.
talked to you, it was the old road. Now it's the new road.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Great. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So here tonight, here first for the DPW requests for the November town meeting. The first one, I think it's in your packet, is for replacement of our unit 11. It's a 2013 dump body. When I say dump body, it doesn't have the dump truck body aspect, it's got a flat bed on the back of it, it has the wood rails. So that we can move materials around. If big boxes need to be moved and stuff like that, that's what that does. But we'll have we already have a sander for it, so we're not requesting the sander to be replaced, we're gonna use it from the truck that was prior, that it was in use with. It will have a new plow naturally. And it is definitely on the replacement list, it's 3 years over. 2 years over, and when we say on the replacement list, we usually put a 10-year life expectancy on most of our smaller vehicles, whether it be a dump truck, pickup truck, because those vehicles are used every single day, every week. Almost 365 days a year, and they're used by all 4 divisions. Where we can't break it down of, if this is gonna be a stormwater truck. Guys going out and doing a stormwater assignment, or he's doing a water assignment, they just take whatever vehicles, and that's, I think, the best way. We'll try to combine that, there are only very few vehicles that are assigned. We have 2 vehicles that are assigned to the water and sewer division, because that's all that is specifically used for. By the water and sewer staff. Cost of the vehicle is $90,000, $90,369.06, and it would be split 4 ways of 22,559.26, not 266. I think that 2 is supposed to be over with the 5.9. So I gave you a picture of it. It is a breakdown. I would ask, hopefully, it's part of the packet I gave you. We did a little more extensive breakdown of the DPW vehicles and equipment that we have. We updated that list and I was presented to the capital planning committee. That's it.
Yeah, we have it. And, if you could just elaborate a little bit more than usual, just because Eric's on the capital planning, but we have Brett, who's new as well, just to kind of bring him up to speed in terms of the process of it all.
So, like I said, most vehicles we try to keep them for 10 years. Most of them, we do keep them for longer than 10 years. Most of these trucks that we buy, every one of them has a plow in those, because there's only so many vehicles that we have. And we go from pickup size to 1-ton dump trucks to larger dump trucks. The largest dump truck we have is a 10-wheeler. And last year, we haven't used it yet. Hopefully, we won't be able to use it that much this year. We did receive the large 6-wheel dump truck that was purchased from 2 years ago. Sometimes when you order these vehicles, it takes because we're buying them under a state contract. And they're specifically built and made for municipal use. That's only can be sold to municipal partners. And this is one of those trucks that would be sold that way. Again, if you look at the breakdown of our list, it does break down exactly almost every vehicle that we have, the expectancy life of it. And I only put the cost of, the ones that have been replaced and what are in need of replacement. I highlighted that in red. Just to give a price of it, and this truck here was $90,000. I think the last one that that was approved at the Maytown meeting was $98,000. And it was just because it was a different body. The good thing about this truck, the difference between, if you look at a regular 1-ton dump truck, it's a 2-door vehicle. This one's gonna actually have a 4-door vehicle that we can use it for more, summer help. Because right now what we're doing is, again, we had 5 summer help fleets this past year, and hopefully we'll have the next year. One truck has to take them out, another truck has to take them out. One truck would take them all out and for assignments throughout the town. It's available for us now. That doesn't mean if it's not here, if it doesn't get approved, then we come back in May, then we'll have the 2026, because this is the last group of 25 vehicles that are still available under the bid. And of course, the price would go up significantly.
Any questions?
Yeah, Jim, how many employees are now working with the DPW?
14.
14.
How many do you need?
Oh, that's a great discussion. I don't see more than, one or two more at the most. For the size of and what's expected to be done. You know, if we had 5 more people, then we could pave roads and stuff like that, but I don't think that's expected of, you know, the DPW. I wouldn't, hope it would be expected of the DPW. But the one that we've already, he's getting, he has the right licenses that we need for spraying. He has his pesticide license, which was a big thing for us to get. We're now open, trying to pick up the equipment that he would need to go out and start spraying the roadsides and stuff like that. Mainly 109 and, you know, the other roadsides that have no sidewalks, which is 90% of those. The sickle bar truck takes care of it.
Perfect.
So one more person would be beneficial.
Okay. I think we're good on that.
All right, next is, my favorite subject, one of my favorites, is the ornamental lights that are placed on Route 109. There's 88 of them, and they were actually put in, which I found out at the capital planning committee meeting, where they were put in from a grant by a previous select board member who appropriated them, got them for the town. I'm not a big fan of the placement of those. I believe they should have been placed on the backside of the sidewalks. And at least 5 got knocked down, you know, during any given year. Could be a year that none get knocked down, but the next year there could be 6 or 7 of them knocked down. Most of the time, when the police respond to them and there's an accident report filled out for them, we usually have an outside firm that come in and they actually go through the process of going through the insurance companies. And they work a deal out with the individual person's insurance company and they replace the lights. But if you look at the age of most of them, it's in need of 10 being to be replaced. We did a survey. If you look at the picture that I have there, and that's the one right in front of the Millis Public Library, and it's tilted this way, and it's tilted that way because the bottom of it, through whether it's a snow blower or whatever, it's eaten away the bottom base of the light structure. It's leaning over and it's open that any animal or whatever could easily get their way in there and get electrocuted. We have 3 of them over the years that we tried to go through the insurance companies, and for whatever reasons, it just didn't work out. We tried and we tried, you know, our council tried to get funding for it. But now it's past our time that we can actually put it through our Meyer Insurance Company. So there's 3 placed on different parts of on Main Street. I mean, the exact addresses, but you know, but there are 3 open that would be a necessity to change, because the wires are, even though Kaplan made them as safe as possible, the wires are still there and they're still open.
Yeah.
That someone could actually get electrocuted.
And are these primarily from car accidents or human error, like snowplows, like if DPW like is snowplowing a sidewalk, like they clip it or something like that?
That has happened.
Yeah.
And most of those will be covered under Meyer Insurance.
Yeah.
They would pay to replace them.
Gotcha.
Most of them, I mean, the one in front of the police station has been replaced in my time. I've been here almost 6 times. I mean, right in front of the police station.
Crazy.
And luckily each time they catch the person.
Mm-hmm.
These, I mean, you can see by the price of them, they're like $7,000 to $9,000 a piece.
Yeah.
And there's only one person that actually make those poles. I think during the capital planning committee, they asked if, you know, what could we change the look of them? And I don't think that would, I don't know how that would work, because I don't know what would be anywhere close to looking what's there.
Can they be moved?
No, it would be way too expensive, because you'd have to lift every panel, you'd have to move all the electrical conduit that's out here all the way to the back of the sidewalks. And I think that would be too cost prohibitive for that to happen. We have changed all the, Mr. Weiss got us we received a grant, and we did change all the bulbs, they're all LED light bulbs now. So, let's say.
But if they keep getting hit and they keep having to be repaired, it wouldn't be behooving to maybe not move them all, but move them periodically over the next few years so that that doesn't occur anymore?
That's something we would have to look at, I just don't, you'd have
Might
one,
be too expensive.
yeah, it will be,
Well, it's
I-
an expense anyways, every time it gets,
I mean,
Sure.
like I said, luckily, this is not, most of these expenses are not put on the town. It's the replacement of the ones that have been beat up
Yeah,
over the 20+ years that they've been in the ground, that's the ones we're looking to replace, not for the ones that are hit. You know, the police do the best they can, so, and once we get the police report, we file it with our insurance company.
it's crazy.
gotcha. Yep. Any other final questions? No, I think we're good.
Now the fun one.
All right.
So Camille did the presentation for the. So now I'm here as a member of the Millis Planning Board, and we're looking for software for our zoning bylaw, and the clerk's office would use it for any the bylaws changes. If you look right now, you're looking at, this is how we get it. It's in a very poor Word document. And to change it, but we make 2 changes almost a year to this book. And I'm not losing my thought on it, just a place.
And how's that currently produced right now?
So this is reprinted.
Yeah.
So, and the Camille would actually make a change, the planning board secretary manually makes the change.
Yeah.
And then we take it out on a thumb drive, which we just did from the Maytown meeting. And she brought it up to AdPrint, and they're producing 26 books. Each one of us on the planning board, we need one. And she usually has a couple of copies that our town administrator gets one in that office. What we're looking for is a software that would actually, the firm would actually type every word for word that's in our book as is today. They would be held legally responsible for what's in the book, because if someone looks at this book and there's something changed from when it's typed in, they have legal recourse against the planning board, because we didn't go to town meeting to change it. Starting 7 months ago, we're reviewing the entire book. There's a committee of us, there's 3 members of the planning board, the building commissioner, the ex-building commissioner, and a couple of contractors that work in those are assisting us to rewrite. We're going page by page. And I can tell you, in 7 months, we were on page 39. And the sad part about that means almost is that something has to be changed on every page previous to that. And for that to be done, we're gonna have to go to a town meeting for this. So if that's a town meeting, you may all wanna go away. Because every page would have to be read and published for the change. So we thought we were gonna be ready for the 34 pages that we had to go to this town meeting. Go a little bit further.
Okay.
Well, as someone who's had to do zoning opinions before for real estate matters, it's important that the town have the most up-to-date repository of the zoning bylaws, all town bylaws, and that they be updated as quickly as possible after town meeting. So if this software can do that, then that solves a lot of problems. And as you said, without having that type of ability to present to the public the accurate bylaws, zoning bylaws, and other bylaws when requested, there is a significant liability. And, you know, with a mistake like that, that could happen, you may be allowing something to be built that shouldn't be built. And then from that point forward, you're gonna somewhat be a stop from stopping anyone else to build it. So I think $16,000 is a short sum of money to make sure that we have this right.
And there was a great discussion at the Capital Planning Committee meeting the other night. There's a lot of great questions asked, and I have I'm gonna hand it out to you in 1 second. But hopefully to answer some of the questions. The biggest thing that we're looking for is for any layman that can, this software will have a search engine in it that will you'll be able to type in height variances. And it will type up, it'll come back with an answer for every single one of those. That has anything to do with height variances. And I think Eric, you know, he asked great questions about, why can't we use the song, you know, there's gotta be some sort of Word document search that can be done. But to us, it's the legality of this being typed and put into perspective. And not that no one here can do that. The company that's actually gonna type it, they're gonna be legally responsible to make sure that this is typed properly.
Yeah.
And then going forth from there, we will be able to, update it in a more easy, better fashion. And like right now, if you go into it, if you go in online, this is online, you have to take your, you have to scroll. And, you know, and there's no search engine with it now. Could we do it? Probably. You know, that would be an IT question.
But then
But
how
the-
many man hours is that gonna take?
Yeah. So is the software E-code 360? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's $16,500 to have the firm
Right.
input all the information on time
And get us up and running.
and get you up and running. And then after that, it's $1,195 a year as of now,
And
just to
Mr.
maintain
Donovan-
the subscription.
Mr. Donovan said that would, he'd be able to absorb that cost in his budget
Yeah.
to maintain it on.
He told us that.
And that's, and then, so, and just to clarify, the Eco 360, is that public access or is that more internal access for administrators and yourself?
You're for us.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
So, but you'd have full access of a read only type on the town's website.
Yeah, I know, I follow you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to your point, so if people wanted to research
Yeah.
something, they could.
And most importantly, we did research who has, and this is half the communities in Massachusetts use this base of work. And I know Kathy in the clerk's office is very excited about this because that hasn't, well, as it has been updated, it's the same type of, you know, you type in and you put a space because of what it pushes everything over, then you have to reformat it,
Sure.
come back into a workable document. And we think that actually, if with this, we can hopefully move forward with maybe contracts, you know, town contracts. With the software, we might be able to use somehow, we keep on using the same type of contract. That we just fill in the base part of it, in the future, that'll be down the line.
And this is all cloud-based,
Yeah.
not server-based. Yeah, just confirm it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Eric asked the question, or somebody had Craig's asked the question, is this, can it be used with a ClearGov? And it's not. It's its own standalone.
Two separate systems.
Yeah.
Do you know if ClearGov has that same capability? It does not, so it's not even an option for ClearGov. Yeah,
You mentioned.
Go ahead, Joyce.
ClearGov? Oh, okay, I just
Yeah.
want to be sure.
sounds good to me. Oh, go ahead, Brett, sorry.
It seems like in terms of the concerns that we have for why the investment, which I agree is small money when it comes to the impact, partially speculative, and I'm just wondering if there's issues that have arisen from a town taking the responsibility to type this up, and as a result, there's been an adverse finding from it.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't answer that. I don't know if anybody's had an issue with that. I know that for us to type up 200 and something pages, even if we put it in some sort of already Word document type software, you know, Jim's told us that it would be very difficult because of the charts in them. I mean, you can see like right there alone, with all the different charts, they would have to be formulated. Even if it was downloaded into a Word type document, he believes that it would throw everything off. And we'd still have a problem with reformatting it.
Okay.
I think the real benefit to this is not so much the initial development of the book. It's the future of, you know, whenever you want to make an amendment to it. You know, for instance, I was looking for a warrant article regarding noise, a noise matter, and I had to search every bylaw to see how it might relate to other bylaws. And that's the problem. It's like computer code, right? You change one code and it breaks other codes. So with this, my understanding of it is it does have the provision that it will look at the rest of the document and can advise you as to what other aspects it might affect. If it does that, I mean, it certainly is. And if we get bylaws put into this document within weeks of town meeting, that is great, because I have been involved in situations in which a town took 2.5 years to put a bylaw into the booklets, and no one knew about it because we weren't at that town meeting, and it cost my client a lot of money. Because they were working on a bylaw that was an old bylaw, but no one, and the town just, assumed, too bad, it took us that amount of time, so.
I'm gonna have asked Mike as this, as his article for November town meeting. And you can represent it for us.
It will be considered.
Yeah. So what I handed out, this is, these are some of the questions that came up. Capital planning committee, we're gonna have to go through them all with this reading.
Yeah.
I will give you a copy tomorrow, once you can, put it on as part of your meeting notes.
Okay.
So just to,
Yeah.
yeah, so just to give some context, so we saw this and asked a lot of questions, and very good presentation given at the capital planning committee meeting. Most of my questions around it focused on the technical side, that's where I tend to live. So yeah, I had some pushback on the technical side. It seems like this contract, there's 2 aspects to it. So the first is maybe 3 aspects. So the first is access to their subject matter experts. The second is almost an insurance aspect where the liability is no longer on the town and is now on this firm. And then the third is the technical aspect, which is really about collaborative document editing, versioning. And it was sort of that third aspect that I think I perseverated on. I was digging in. That being said, if you told me that it was $16,000 just for the subject matter experts and the transfer of liability, that seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jen.
How much insurance do they carry if they screw up? Like, what's the limits of their liability?
I would think that during the contract signing, before the town administrator signs that contract, he'll review that with town council. To make sure that it's an accurate amount.
Good point. All right, I think we're good. Great. Appreciate it, Jim. Thank you very much.
Thanks, yeah.
Probably see you next week with the zoning bylaw.
Small doses.
Yeah.
Have a nice night.
Good evening, Mike. How are you?
Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Good, thanks.
Good, thank you.
Well, just a quick follow-up to what, Mr. Kay was saying, General Code, which is the company that, has this software, has been around for several decades in the Commonwealth and has scores of communities, that already have this. So
Yeah.
this is a tested program, I'm sure with, many larger communities out there that have it. It's been kind of battle tested, and we will check the insurance, but I'm confident that won't be an issue.
Yeah.
As far as the insurance levels.
And I guess I assume, but I shouldn't assume, but I imagine that they're either the only player out there in terms of doing this.
One of very few with any real experience in Massachusetts.
Okay. So it's really the go-to then.
Yes.
Okay.
I have seen them at the Mass Municipal Conference in Boston at the trade show a number of times. And certainly I think at this point we're at crossroads where it makes sense. And, they have a lot of customers, so I think they've been able to develop a product that they can offer at a competitive price. So I
Yeah.
agree that the price seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, agreed.
Based on what the town's gonna get out of it.
Yeah. All right.
So, I think the finance committee has asked me here to go over, what we have currently for, articles for the, fall town meeting. I did drop off a memo to each of your, seats, in regards to this, of those that attended the tri-board meeting a little while back. You'll be familiar with this document. This is, basically just a list of, as of right now, the potential articles. the board, has not formally voted to, place any articles on the warrant. The warrant closes, on Monday, the 29th. Technically, so, I do expect, they'll have a rough draft of a warrant, at that meeting, that we don't have one yet ready for public review, but I do expect to have at least an initial draft, by Monday. And so, as I said, the list is the same as what you saw, recently. I'd be happy just to go through it, with the committee.
Yeah, we can rifle through a few of these, because they're self-explanatory. Unpaid bills, FY 26 budgetary transfers are normal.
Yeah, these are standard, and again, we're not sure of the relative need of them yet.
Yeah.
But standard articles, so we place at every town meeting. We do have a parcel of town-owned land. If you might recall, we did have a large number of parcels at the last town meeting. We asked for approval to dispose of.
Yeah.
This one was simply missed in the jumble that we put together, so we're just adding this one to that list.
So this parcel being added to the list, it's not being
Oh,
sold.
it's not being.
It
sold?
is, it is. No, we're adding it to the list that we're asking the town to authorize to,
Correct.
for the town to auction or.
Right. You don't have a buyer.
No.
Yeah.
You do or don't have it?
No.
Okay, so this is just add, because.
This is yeah, so this.
So you missed one last.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will say that the two articles, there were two parcels last November that
Yeah.
were. Those sales just finalized in the last few weeks, so it does take anywhere from 6 to 9 months for this process to go through, even after town meeting approval. Any transfer of land, especially when municipalities are involved, is quite a process.
Understood.
Was it land that was a bit abutting people's property?
Yes, it was land that abutted residential homeowners that really one of them was that case, the other was a piece of landlocked, it was a parcel that was landlocked, that was a developer had purchased it to put a drainage, to improve the drainage system for a development they were
Right,
building.
right.
And so it was worth it to them to do that.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
I heard you say that there are two parcels that are basically closing. Are there others in the works of that?
No, there are not, there are not. So what happened, after the, town meeting in the spring, back in May, we, forwarded all the parcels to town council, the real estate arm of our town council. They're going through all the parcels, they have to vet them, before we can even put them through a bidding process. So we hope to be able to, I think we're gonna do that in phases, so we don't have all 80 properties out there at the same time. We might have, 20 at a time that we put out, a manageable amount. And we'll put out the ones first that we think are probably more likely to have an interest in the public because of the nature of the parcel. So we're hoping that over the winter, we'll have our first process where it'll either be sealed bids or it'll be an auction. We're still discussing that with the town council.
Gotcha.
So that's the third article on the list. The next article again is one that you do see and have seen at the fall town meetings, funds for roads and sidewalk construction. Obviously, some of that is dependent upon our free cash numbers. Our finance director is hard at work on that. We're hopeful, that by probably mid-October, we'll have a solid number that we'll have for that. So it'll help you in your deliberations for your recommendations. Also, we're finding the next article is funds for tree pruning and removal. We have found in the last 3 to 6 months a spike in the requests from residents to address problem trees, and we're aware of some other trees that either need to be heavily pruned or be removed. Some of them, we feel may become safety issues if left too much longer. So we have that item on there. I'd actually put that item at a higher priority than the road and sidewalk item as far as timeline. We have made a lot of good progress on the roads, sidewalks over the past several years.
And can you just refresh our memories? How is that funded? And what's the timeline of that tree removal stuff? Not specifically this, but in general, like, does it? You know, you take down a bunch of trees 1 year and then you wait 3 years and you do it again type of a thing?
Yeah, it's really done on a periodic basis.
Yeah.
Based on the conditions of the trees.
Yeah.
We do, in the past, we've tried to set aside $50,000 or $75,000. That's put in account.
Set aside from what, free cash?
Yeah, usually free cash. So it's a special article. What the DPW works with the tree warden. To go about a process of prioritizing the needed work on the trees, starting with the most dangerous trees that need to be pruned or removed. And that fund has generally been used for a year and a half until the fund runs out.
Right.
And we have run out of funds. If this is approved at the fall, there may be a few projects in the winter that are higher priority, but we probably really gear up next spring. Our tree warden is also a town moderator, so certainly ask him his philosophy on that.
Sure.
This time he's with us here. But and he'll attest that we have gotten a large spike in requests for tree work for town trees over the past 6 months.
Go ahead, Eric.
Do you, sorry.
I just have a few questions. These are mostly for my own interest. So the first, do you know why there's been such a spike?
I am not 100% sure. Sometimes these things do come in waves. Again, I do not track the disease levels in trees or things like that as closely, but that would be an excellent question for the tree warden. I mean, if I were to answer that, it might be a little bit conjecture, so I hesitate to.
I'm curious. And are most of these projects, like removing dead and dying trees, or is it pruning back trees that are encroaching on like sidewalks and roads?
It's mostly, dead limbs, dead trees that creating a safety hazard. That's really the core. It's not for cutting, trees around power lines either. That's done by Eversource. Their forestry division does that work. But this is for trees that are maybe are dying and are leaning, maybe towards a house or towards a driveway or towards a street.
For the roots.
That are creating a dangerous condition. So that's the primary. And so it's really for dead trees, dead limbs. And I know the tree warden does try to save trees whenever possible. So if you think that a tree is savable, you might just do a heavy prune on the tree. And then check it several years later to see how it's doing.
Do we do the removal ourselves, or do we contract that out?
Most of it is contracted out. So we hire a company, we might hire them for an 8-hour day. So they'll come in and they'll hit as many problem trees as possible in an 8-hour day. And we'll schedule several days, and then we'll reassess where we are after those days are complete.
Okay,
Go
thanks.
ahead, Joyce.
Do you know if it's gonna be 50K just or 75? Do you have any idea how much?
I don't, I'm still having discussions with the tree board director about the actual amount, and also some of it depends on the free cash levels.
And-
But I certainly would think it's probably at least 75,000 would be my estimate.
Do you know where when they do take down the dead trees or the wood, what happens to that wood?
That's a great question. Sometimes if the homeowner right there on the spot is interested in the wood, it'll be left because it'll cut down our costs to leave it there.
Okay.
But I think there's some other avenues we've looked at. Usually the last resort is to have, like our crews take it to an area to dispose of it. We do usually like to try to find a way to dispose of it without cost of the town, so. And I think that's been done in different ways in the past. But oftentimes we've been able to, have the homeowner take the wood. Usually the small branches, the, tree company will chip those, take those away from the site.
Maybe there'll be somebody in the town that sells wood that could come and pick it up.
Absolutely, and I know the tree warden knows a lot of folks in the town involved in that work, so. Again, I would probably defer to him in that season.
Mr. Chair, just
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
don't mean to get too deep into the root of this problem.
Oh, good.
No, thank you.
Nice one.
Add to your list.
Just leave it alone.
I'll leave that.
He likes to branch off in a different.
Oh, God. Open mic night. Continue.
We'll return next week. My question is around exposure. So I'm hearing a lot, it depends on how much money we have to do this. If we are, we're aware of, say, a handful of trees, we don't have the funding for it. How do we, protect ourselves from the potential of a future tree down on a house, a property, what have you? How do we navigate that?
Right, well, obviously, our core concern is safety for individuals, much more than the property. Obviously, we want to protect property, but the individuals is the biggest concern. We do have insurance that covers that. If we were to have a lightning strike a town tree and it were to come down and destroy someone's property, our insurance would cover us, and there are certain methodologies in insurance for those that have that experience or are involved with insurance claims. Fallen trees are an interesting subcategory in home insurance. Usually, if a tree falls on someone's property, the person whose property falls on, it's usually their insurance that covers it, believe it or not the insurance of the person that the tree came from. But certainly the town, first and foremost, wants to protect the safety of the citizens. So again, we have insurance for that, but we certainly try to stay ahead of it, so it doesn't reach that issue. But occasionally, we've had issues, and the town's insurance will make sure the town is fully covered.
Go ahead, Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to shake this tree a little more and see what thoughts. Would like to.
We all need to get out more.
I would like to ask.
Not barking at this issue.
Keep going.
Would like to ask tree warden come in to talk to us about this. I would like to know what he recommends as the scope of the project before I were to support any dollar amount.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Parliament.
Yeah, I would recommend having them in perhaps sometime one of your October meetings.
And I would like to ask, mainly for an outreach type of, information for everybody. Whether you know that now or whether he can answer the question, or maybe town attorney, is our work done limited to trees that are in the right of way, or trees that are on private property but may overreach the right of way? Or what's the domain of what we're talking about?
It's primarily trees that are in the town's right of way.
The roots.
Yes, the trunk of the tree, essentially. If we see obviously, if we see a dead branch overhanging a town road, that's a serious danger, and we're unable to get the homeowner to properly prune the tree, then I would say there have occasionally been actions for the immediate public safety, but generally, the vast majority of this work is done on trees in the town's right of way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just made a note, we'll get Brutus, the tree warden, in here to help answer some specific questions and dollar figures for us.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. Moving on.
School building project.
Yep.
I think you're going to have those folks in at some point to give a full overview for that.
We are reviewing the schedule and all with Deidre on that.
All right, the next item is the capital items, and I think this evening you've heard details on 3 out of the 4 capital items that you'll see on the warrant. The 4th capital item is for gas meters for the fire department. A little bit of history on that. That item is only in the 35,000 range roughly. In actuality, we actually already have a state earmark for that item. The chief does consider it a high priority item and a timely item that he feels he would need to have by the end of this calendar year. So this is really a backup, because the governor has held all earmarks.
Okay.
Until later in the fall. So we may not know till late October, November, or December if the earmark's gonna be released. So this is just a backup in case that state earmark is not released. If it is released, which we expect it to be released, those funds would be available in the future to transfer to some other capital project. Again, we consider that probably the highest priority item, just because it's a safety issue for the fire department to have those gas meters.
Are we talking about natural gas meters?
Yes, that basically they do testing, well, they do testing for when they go into buildings, to test for if there's gas in the building.
Those meters, okay.
Yeah, but I was,
Meters, yeah, that they
but I-
utilize
yes.
for safety checks, okay.
Yes, but I would probably recommend, you know, to ask the fire chief to come in to discuss that. If he doesn't get confirmation of the earmark that has been released before, you know, your last review meetings, I'm sure he'd be happy to come in and give a brief overview of that. But I think it covers several things, those meters.
Okay.
The next item, proposed changes to the general bylaws. Article 6 of our general bylaws talks about certain procurement thresholds. I think those were established back perhaps in the 80s. Those thresholds are very low, below a lot of the state thresholds. And talking with the finance director and her reviewing, after she'd been here a little over a year, reviewing some of those financial items in the bylaws, she feels that it's time to at least review those, so we're in the process of doing that. And I will have more information on that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, going forward to give you more details on that. But just for your reference, if you wanna bone up on this, if you wanna look at Article 6 in the general bylaws between now and future meetings.
Will do.
The next one is also changes to the general bylaws. It does appear that our fines for violations regarding animals are out of date. Our fines are now below that of the state. So the state has a minimum threshold for fines, and by law, we have to meet those minimums. So right now, we are, whenever a violation occurs, and they don't occur that often, thankfully, but when they do occur, they get the state violation number, even though the town's is lower because the state overrides the town rules. But for clarity and transparency, we need to update those to the state minimums.
You don't have an example of one of those fines, do you?
I don't, but it could be things as simple as the
Yeah.
leash law.
Yeah.
Things
$50,
like that.
$50
Yeah.
or something.
So those haven't been updated in well over 10 years. And so the state had a total overhaul of their animal control bylaws 4 or 5 years ago. And we just haven't kept up with that. So she's on top of this, and she'll be able to discuss that once we have the proposed changes,
Okay.
which should match the state.
Are you
state.
referring to the ACO?
Aaron Millette,
Yeah, Aaron,
ACO, yeah.
okay. Good,
The next one, proposed change to the general bylaws, is to look at establishing a leaf blower bylaw. This would be primarily maybe looking at limiting the hours of operation for gas powered leaf blowers, which are incredibly loud. And for those that are woken up at 7 in the morning by these things on a Saturday morning, you know, it can be irritating. So it's something we're looking at. This would be for commercial folks only probably, and not residential. But it's something we've been looking at, and we'll have some more detailed language on that.
And is there's no bylaw right now regarding that?
There is no bylaw that specifically addresses leaf blowers.
but would that be under noise?
The only noise bylaw that's there is with respect to construction.
Yeah,
So the only thing in the bylaws that deal with morning or evening noise is coming from construction sites, which is 7 in the morning till I think 6 o'clock in the evening.
7,
it'd just be if a commercial company wanted to show up at 7 in the morning, they'd have to use their electric blowers until a certain time.
Right.
If they felt the need to start that early.
Right.
Just for the peace and sanity of the neighborhood.
But if a resident decides to fire their.
Yeah, so I mean, this is more it's more focused on the commercial.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to, make it any more difficult for residents, because we know residents sometimes have limited time that they can do this, but for the commercial operations, that's what's being reviewed right now.
Okay. Oh, try, go ahead, Pete.
Is it limited to leaf blowers, commercial leaf blowers and not commercial?
You get the microphone.
Is it limited to leaf blowers and not mowers?
The leaf blowers are much louder than most of the mowers, so that's what we're focusing right now. It's not to say that we couldn't look at that down the road, but this is the short-term focus.
Thank you.
Is the expectation that commercial operations will check the bylaws, or is this mostly so if something's happening? resident has recourse where they can say you can't do that.
Well, we do have, I believe that all the commercial landscapers have to obtain some licensing. So we would check that and notify all those commercial, operations of the new bylaw. So that they're put on notice of it, so we don't have to go out and try to track them down after a complaint.
Right.
But it would give the police the authority to talk to them and say, you know, you're violating a bylaw, and if you continue to do that, you'll be fined.
Yeah.
The homeowner really has no recourse against a commercial landscaper that's doing a job next door. You can talk to your neighbor and say, please don't do that, the kid's sleeping right now, but commercial landscapers have gotten to a point where they decide they wanna come in and they can, basically, it's unlimited. I've had them at 6 o'clock in the morning in our neighborhood, and I've had them at 8 o'clock at night.
Mm.
And with no limitation, you know, there's nothing we can do about it.
Right, so with that
Go ahead, Jeff.
bylaw, you can call the police and say.
Yes.
Correct. Violation of the bylaw, say it's Saturday morning, someone's out there at 6:30, there's a company out there with a gas powered blower, you can call the police and say, you know, they're violating the bylaw, and they'll come out and tell them, you can't do that, or they'll have to, you know. They'll have to switch over to other devices, I mean, all depends on the situation or the time.
It's akin to solicitation too, so if you have a sign on your property that says no solicitation, and solicitors come to your property, you can call the police, and the police do have the right to come up and tell them they have to leave, or they'll have to pull the permit. So it's something that at least somebody has authority over somebody who you have no control.
Alright,
So the next two, articles have to do with zoning bylaw changes.
Mhm.
The first is the FEMA flood maps. We did make changes to those at the recent town meeting. But, there was some issues that had to be addressed, and those have to be adjusted, so the planning board's been working on those, so that they're in perfect alignment with the FEMA flood maps. Right now, the maps that they've placed at the town meeting back in the spring were slightly different
okay,
than the federal. So I know the planning board's been working on that. They've also been working on zoning bylaws related to ADUs. On a similar vein, that was done, recently. But the, Attorney General has ruled that those, the ADU bylaw is slightly too restrictive on the state law. Millis, along with probably a dozen other towns in the Commonwealth, we all thought that this was within the guidance was provided. But the AG's office is taking a harder line on any restrictions. So.
and this was what was voted on.
This was what was voted on, so we're just tweaking it, just the minimum to meet the
State
AG.
standard. Okay.
I know we're gonna get the AG's okay on this one before we bring it to that.
Yes, basically, her office basically laid out exactly the 3 or 4 items that had to be tweaked, so we're tweaking those. I believe, I have to check with the planning board, but I believe they sent those up to be rechecked. To make sure that the changes did meet with the, what the AG had sent out to us.
Go ahead, Joyce.
Did you say that our rules were too strict?
Yes. So they're much more liberal than they used to be, but they're too strict because the MBTA, zoning law that requires that, basically the ADU was part of that. And, we put a few restrictions on there that the AG has decided are not keeping with the particulars of that law. I mean, we can agree or disagree, but ultimately it's the call of the Attorney General.
Sure.
Yeah, we don't really have, the ability to.
No, I just wanted to be sure that we were too strict, or, you know, that you had said.
Yeah, our restrictions
our
on,
restriction.
on how it could be done, they deemed were slightly too strict based on their reading of that law, of state law.
Okay.
I have a quick question on
Go ahead.
flood maps. Does the changing of those maps, does that move any Millis residents like into an area now designated as a floodplain or?
Yes, a few. I think our biggest concern right now is that it moves some parts of our, large parts of our commercial, industrial area into now a flood zone, which does make it much harder to do certain projects and do certain buildings there. We are currently investigating that to look at the possibility of doing an appeal to move those lines. There's a process with that could take 6 months to a year for us to go through that process. But yes, there were a few residents, a few homes that were, had some effect, which the biggest effect of that is it could affect your insurance.
Right.
So that's,
Right.
so we have, I know Bob Weiss, our planning director, has met with a few residents about those concerns. And, again, we're also looking at certain land along 109 that has not yet been fully developed, that's in the commercial industrial zone that may be more difficult to develop for businesses in the community based on where where FEMA has moved those flood lines. Again, we are looking at appealing and making some changes to that.
Thank you. And the last two?
So the next one is an item you see every couple of years. We do by law have to do an OPEB actuarial study every other year. So that's $8,200. Similar to an audit and a review of our OPEB schedule to see where we are. And the last one is to actually transfer funds into the OPEB trust fund. Again, we usually do that every fall. Usually we're somewhere between $50,000 to $100,000. Again, we'll look at that based on our available free cash.
And just to reiterate, or not reiterate, but I passed out a glossary for FinCom terms to the whole committee here. So we had some questions about OPEB earlier.
Other post-employment benefits,
Other-
yearly retiree,
Retiree,
Yeah.
97%.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Brad.
Who performs the study that we do every
We have an
year?
outside firm, and I can't answer that question, but I know it's an accredited firm and we'll get the answer for you at the next meeting.
Most towns like Millis are woefully underfunded in OPEB. So we're making an effort every year to try to put some money into it as much as we possibly can. And if you continue to do that over time, you catch up. But for right now, you know, it's.
What a
it's
lot
something.
of, just what a lot of communities are doing is they're taking this approach. And right now, we do get assessed a very large assessment every year from Norfolk County for the retirement system. Right now, we're looking to be fully funded for the retirement system by 2032.
Yeah.
I think that may go forward or back a couple of years depending on the economy and the stock market. But what most towns are doing is they're looking to, when that gets fully funded, they're gonna shift over the funds that they're currently using to fund Norfolk County retirement from the OPEB accounts, because it's just very difficult to fund both at the same time. Because a large part of Norfolk County retirement, like most retirement systems, is we're not really paying for the current employees as much as you're paying for the sins of the past. It was 50 or 60 years where towns were not investing any money and they were just purely pay as you go. And so over the past 25, 30 years, all the towns in the Commonwealth have been paying into the regional retirement systems in order to make up for that. Because right now, anywhere from 8 to 11% of employees' pay gets deducted, out of their paychecks, similar to Social Security, except at a slightly higher rate, and goes to the regional retirement. So that's where that need comes in. So we'll pay off one unfunded liability, and we have to really push to start paying off the other.
So more information to come on all these different articles. We'll ask the tree warden to come in. Let's see if we can get the fire chief in here and talk about the gas gauges. We'll do some reading on the Article 6 for the bylaws for procurement. Animal fines need to be updated, leaf blower, will be reviewed to bring us more information on that, and you'll take a look at the firm that audits the OPEB fund. Go ahead, Pete.
Forgive me if I missed this at the tri board, but this seems to be the first time that we haven't discussed host community impact fund expenditures. Is that a thing past now?
You may see some of that under the Article 2, the budgetary transfers. So they'll I think this fall will be pretty much the end of it. In large part, but there will be some transfers at the fall town meeting under the budgetary transfers.
Thank you.
For the new members, the weed store, has been giving us money for the last 5 years.
For the host community
For the host
agreement.
community agreement, so, that's pretty much gone. Well, that's what Ellen calls it.
Yeah.
Calls it a weeds. She has a bumper sticker. It says, buy your weed from Townies. So.
So we can get into it later, but the percentage was given to the town over a 5-year period based on sales. Essentially,
Well, the impact payments, were 3%, up to 3% of gross sales for impact payments to the town on the host agreement. That was really, the state changed the rules a few years after everything got set up, so that ended after year 5. But we do have the sales tax on, marijuana, on retail marijuana, which the town did approve, so we'll continue to receive 3% sales tax.
Right.
And that goes straight into the general fund.
Right.
So it's available to
Right.
be used by
but
the,
HCA revenue will stop.
those special funds will stop.
Yeah. Mike, thank you very much. Appreciate all your comments.
See you all again.
Oh, yeah,
Soon.
absolutely.
Thank you, have a good evening.
You bet, you too. All right, moving along to some bills payable that we need to discuss. So the first one I have here, and everyone needs to sign these, is ClearGov. And this is for our registration. So has everyone gone to ClearGov before? Brett, have you been there before?
I
Yeah.
read a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's a great website, actually, not only for Millis, but other towns, if you wanna start looking at and comparing, different stats between towns, it's a great spot. So that's, our first one. We gotta vote on this, though. So all those in.
I move to approve payment.
Okay.
Been approved and seconded to approve payment. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Second one is for the Association of Town Finance Committee. Eric and Brett and Heidi are gonna be going to that association conference coming up in October. This is for $201. It needs to be signed. Can I get a motion for that?
Move to approve.
Second,
Been moved to approve the Association of Town Finance Committee. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And the last one here looks like some office equipment, maybe some paper, something like that, from WB Mason for $94.71.
Move to approve.
Move, seconded to approve, the WB Mason for $94.71. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
For the new members, we can't overstep our budget. So every so often we arrive at the end of the fiscal year and last fiscal year, and we had some leftover money or leftover bills.
I think the WB Mason expenses will stay, please.
It was,
Yeah.
3 of them.
I almost had to pay for my own one.
Times were tough back then.
Two, bigger.
Moving on to some minute approvals, so let's see here, July 9th, we've got enough people here.
I move that we approve the minutes of July 9.
Second.
There's been a motion to approve and properly seconded to approve the Millis Finance Committee meeting minutes from July 9th. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And the next one is from August 25th, which was at the select board meeting. I would like to make a motion for that.
I move to approve. Okay.
And seconded,
Second,
and second, it's been motioned and seconded to approve the August 25th FinCom meeting minutes. That was at select board.
I have to abstain because I wasn't there.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. We can
Aye.
have enough.
aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstentions? Abstain. Pete Ruby and Jen are abstaining because they were not there. Perfect. Thank you on that. Let's see here, going down the list. Any old business or new business from anybody? I do not have anything. Any liaison updates?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I can just do a quick update on the capital planning committee.
Great.
So right now, we're just going through the capital planning committee is going through the current capital requests, triaging and ranking them. In preparation for town meeting. And then the other thing we have going on is the implementation of the ClearGov capital budgeting module. And we're just in the process of cleaning the data before we import it to start.
Okay.
A slow adoption of it.
I do
Go ahead, Joyce.
The CEO,
Wait, do you have a question for Eric?
oh no, I was.
Any questions for Eric? Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Eric, who are the current members, both voting members and participants?
I can help you with that if you need it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it might. So we have, sitting in from the school board is, Sean. I forget his last name.
Powers.
Powers. We also, ex officio, we have Mike Zazinski sitting on it. We have, John is chairing it,
Jonathan Berry.
Jonathan Barry.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm on the spot, so.
Why don't you just do it?
No, you're doing, you're doing well. You're doing well. Wayne Paco
Yep. Yeah,
Are
and Jim,
at large?
at large
at large, Jim McCaffrey also at large.
and Feature Main member at large.
And who is the select board person? Is it still
That-
Eric Schultz?
Right, Frank Schultz, yeah.
Thank you.
Good test. All right, Joy, go ahead.
The Council on Aging, actually, the Friends of the Council on Aging are, several people, Susan Steele and I believe 4 other ladies, have created a quilt that will be getting, that people can purchase a ticket to, it's a fundraiser. The Friends support the Council on Aging on a lot of their programs, so any money that's raised, helps with My Bear Group, which is the teddy bears for charity, and anything else that the Council on Aging is in need of, lunches, the fire department coming and talking, guest speakers, if they, musicians. So the Friends, did this beautiful, king size quilt, and they will be at the, Lions, Market Fair, which is October 25th. Where if you'd like to buy a ticket for $10, you have a chance to win this beautiful quilt it's exquisite. The Council on Aging is also, we're going to start renovating some of the rooms downstairs. We've already started with paint choices, so we're in the process, we've selected for 2 rooms. That will have the paint updated, and we're slowly but surely getting each room to start looking a little bit more presentable, and since we can't have a new Council on Aging home, we're making the home that we have downstairs as lovely as we possibly can within budget.
Cool, perfect, thank you. Just final administrative thing, it says important dates on the agenda here. I'm also gonna have Deirdre put down just the regular FinCom meetings on here as well. So next week, plan on FinCom, pretty much going forward, full town meeting, just as an FYI for everybody. No, but yes, for now. Be here next week and then I'll see if we can get everything on the agendas going forward so you can keep track of everything. Does that work?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
do we have any vacant committees or subcommittees that we had representatives on that we no longer?
Yes, Kathy was on the Capital Preservation Committee, and we will need to look for a replacement at some point.
Enterprise?
I don't know, check. Do we?
Remember her talking about that quite often,
Was she, true, was she?
but I'm not sure as a member of this committee or secondary,
Yeah,
overall.
yeah. I will, make a note. Good reminder. Okay, that is all. I will take a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second,
And motion to move and to adjourn, and probably second, and all of in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Thanks, have a good night. Good talking with you.
And anytime, if you're an audience member, if you have a question, you're always welcome to come up to the to the microphone. Just to I'm just letting you know that anyone in the audience, this isn't a closed meeting, this is an open meeting for the public to be able to address any questions they have. Just for your information.
Thank you.
Jen, are those sheep fines gonna add up for you over time? Those sheep fines, the animal fines that are in the bylaws here? Just joking.
I give.
So,
Let's
so
do
Chief,
one.
Yeah, go ahead, Adrian.
Chief Barrett will be presenting, next week at 7 o'clock.
Perfect.
And I have a note to request, Brutus for the tree issue and, the school building committee.
Yeah, Rich, emailed me today. Maybe we can, touch base tomorrow morning if you're available.
I will be, yes.
And we can map out, a date. He gave me a couple availability dates. I just don't have them in front of me right now, that's all.
That's okay. I believe Nicole can do it as well.
She could. Yeah. The, signed, bills payables are here on the desk for you.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good
You want me to
night.
log out of Zoom? All right, you too. Take care.
Take care.
All right, take care. Thank you. Bye. Okay, what the fuck? How do I do this? How do I do this?